Today on the podcast, we're going to look at how do you sell or market your product or service when you have something that you think is unique. So, in other words, you are brand new into the market, you have a product, you have a service, but this thing is brand spanking new. It's unique. It's not something that people in your context, people in your environment have ever heard of before. And it's causing you some anxiety. How are you going to sell this thing? This is the question that we're going to tackle today on the podcast. Now, if you love these sorts of things, then subscribe on Spotify, YouTube, Apple, or any player of your choice, because this is what we talk about over here on the podcast every other day. We try and solve business challenges, especially business challenges that can be solved by sales and marketing. My name is Tabishima Ayede. I'm the host of the podcast, former lawyer turned photographer and turned business consultant. And yeah, that's what I do here every single day. And if you'd love to connect, maybe you have questions, comments, or queries over anything that I've said over here on the podcast, then call, send me a text message or a WhatsApp message on 08064662140. You can also reach out to me for collaborations. I don't mind because, I'm looking for money. So if anything good comes up, I'm down. So holla at your boy. All right. Now, how do you sell or market your unique products or services? Now, for those of you who have been listening to this podcast, steady, you already know that I hinted at this thing maybe like 2 or 3 weeks back because it actually is a listener question from Paul in Abuja who called in on my radio show. Not the podcast, the radio show that I keep talking about. Oh, did I mention I'm a radio show host as well? So, Paul from Abuja, he called in and he gave me a challenge. He said, I have a unique product. I have a unique service. How do I market this thing? I'm like, okay, word, no problem. Let's hear now. What's the thing? And he said, his software, his app, the business solution that he sells, because this is B2B, that is business to business. Now, if this is your first time of listening to the podcast, sorry, excuse me, in the business environment, typically when we look at sales and marketing, we usually think in terms of B2B, which is business to business, and then B2C, which is business to consumer. So for people like, let's say, Indomie, yeah, people like Indomie now, I can't remember the parent company. So for Indomie now, that is B2C. There's a business on one end, that big company, whatever the name of the company is, and then they sell Indomie to people like me so that we can eat. You flex, you buy Indomie, you buy some suya, you buy Fanta, just turn on the AC and relax and watch Netflix at home. So that is B2C, business to consumer. Then there are other people who do B2B, that is business to business. So let me see now. What can I think of? Okay, let's say you sell keyboards, external keyboards, and then you want to sell not just keyboards, but you sell digital accessories. So keyboards, computer monitors, things like that. And you're trying to sell a batch of maybe like 2,000 keyboards and maybe 1,500 monitors, and you're trying to sell it to Ministry of Finance, or you're trying to sell it to CBN or to Zenith Bank or whatever. In that case, it's business to business because you are a business and you're trying to sell your product, your service, your solution, your whatever to another business. Some people also classify that as enterprise sales, but we can talk about all those divisions later. Let's stick to the main focus for today. I just wanted to give a background in case there's anybody who is new listening to the podcast. Oh, and by the way, for those of you who are new, I'm making today's recording at home, and the kids are home, so expect to hear some interruptions in the background. Let's see. All right, so Paul now, based in Abuja, the software, the solution that he sells sales analytics, customer analysis, and financial analysis. I repeat, he sells an app, a website, business solution that covers sales analytics, customer analysis, and financial analysis. Now let's break it down. Now, sales analytics is okay, instead of defining it, let me run it this way. Now, for those of you who have sales teams, let's say you have 2, 3 salespeople, you don't just hire them and, let them free to just go and do whatever they like. Typically, you try and track their performance in some way Because in going out to sell on your behalf, they're going to have to carry out certain activities. They're going to have to call people. They're going to have to set up meetings. They're going to have to make presentations. They're going to have to send out proposals, and then they will try to close. So if you want to figure out how effective, sorry, one moment. Okay, sorry about that. Those are my kids knocking on the door. They needed my attention for something. Okay, where was I? All right, so I was saying now, for those of you who have sales teams, your your salespeople are going out to go and sell on your behalf, and because of that, they have to carry out certain activities. Now, if you want to be able to know who is effective, who is the most effective, who is the least effective, maybe because you want to decide who to train, who to fire, who to promote, or who to compensate, you need to be able to track all the activities that they're doing. So, salesperson A, salesperson B, salesperson C. How many meetings, how many phone calls did person A make? How many phone calls did B make? How many phone calls did C make? Of the phone calls, how many turned into meetings or appointments? At the appointments, how many of them were able to deliver presentations? After the presentations, how many concrete proposals were sent out? After proposals, how many deals were closed and how much were the deals closed for? So, at the end of the month, at the end of the quarter, you as the business owner or you as the sales team lead, you can take all these figures to be able to decide that, you know what, uh, person C actually performed the best. And then from there, you can make other kinds of decisions. So that is what sales analytics is all about, basically. So you sell a business solution, you sell a software that tracks all these activities and monitors all these activities. What are my salespeople doing? Are they effective? So that is what Paul in Abuja sells. So if you have a sales team and you're wondering, I have Chukudi, I have Chidere, I have Chineye, they are selling on my behalf, but I don't know what's going on. Who is making me money? Where am I losing money? Who is wasting my time? You can answer all these questions. Then sales analytics is the sort of thing that you need in your company. Oh, by the way, if you're wondering, I don't provide sales analytics. Yes, I do sales training. If you have the figures, we can sit down and look at them so that we can decide together that yes, this is where you're losing money. This is the salesperson who is the most productive person. And this is where we need to upskill them. This is where we need to train them. And sadly, we can also decide together this is the person you need to sack. It's unfortunate, but it happens. Last month in November, I've had to do not just November, I think like 2 or 3 times this year. We've already had to do that for some of my clients, unfortunately. Now, look, we've been through the process, and so and so person is not pulling their weight. So that is what sales analytics is. Now, customer analysis, on the other hand, is when you are keeping track of data in your company, from the sales team and from the fulfillment people. Fulfillment just means the business function that, how will I put it, that carries out whatever it is you have promised that you will do to the customer. So, let's say you sell plantain chips. Your salespeople go out and they get the contract for plantain chips. After the money has been paid, they let you know, and then you now tell your fulfillment staff, the people who fry the chips, the people who package the chips, the people who ship out the chips, and ensure that the chips have been delivered in good condition. Now that is called fulfillment. So the salespeople going out, that is one function. Fulfillment is the person carrying out the job. So like back when I was a wedding photographer, after I stopped legal practice. If I went out to shoot a wedding, and then I came back, I worked on the photos, and I handed it over to the people who would create the albums and who would create the frames. That is fulfillment. So fulfillment is another business function. So customer analysis is this. You are talking to the salespeople, you're talking to the fulfillment people, and then from there, you're going to be able to get some statistics. How many customers did we deal with in December? How many customers did we deal with in January? How many customers did we deal with all of 2025? How many customers did we deal with the year before? Of the customers that we've done business with, how much money did we make per head? What are the customer segments that we have? Which are the profitable customer segments? We need to know that kind of information so that in the new year we know who to chase. So if you look at your data and then you say, we've been selling to everybody, but whenever we sell to Igbo men who are based in Anambra between the ages of 65 and 75, those are the guys who give us good bar, they give us good money, they give us sweet dough, they pay on time, they know they stress. Then you can start making some strategic decisions in the coming year to say, you know what, let us focus on this segment because they pay us on time, they pay us well, they give us good money. In fact, they even dash us money on top and then they introduce us to their friends and we do good money there. So that is customer analysis. You're looking at all the data and you're trying to figure out who are my customers, how much did they pay us, who are the best, who are the bad. In fact, you even need to know who are the bad customers. Because if you know, for instance, that, okay, let me not use any tribe, but of course, you know the tribe I have in mind if you listen to this podcast. So if you look at the data and you see that this particular tribe that we think are demons, that those demons don't pay us on time, they don't pay us well, they brag too much, they never keep their promises, they don't introduce us to anybody who is all right, you now know that, okay, let us ignore this certain category of people. So this is the reason why customer analysis is really, really important. Then, of course, financial analysis is all the data, the facts, the figures, the everything, so that you know the financial performance of your company. How much money did we raise last year? How much money did we use as working capital? What else? How much money did we borrow? How much money did we spend? How much money came in? How much money went out? What was the cash flow like? All those questions. So Paul in Abuja now, the app that he has, the solution that he has, it answers all these problems. Are your salespeople performing well? Who is performing well? Who is performing poorly? Customers. What kind of customers do you have? Who are the customers that are very valuable? And who are the customers that are useless? And then financial analysis. The money situation over the last month, over the last year, over the last quarter, over the last decade, over the last whatever. How has it been? The money flowing in, has it been good? The money flowing out, what's going on there? Now, we need to know all these things as business owners. You need to do sales. You need your sales analytics. You need to do customer analysis. You need to do financial analysis because it gives you an overall scope, a snapshot, a view about how your business is doing. And from the examples that I've given, it gives you ideas about strategies for the coming year. So this thing that Paul sells actually is very, very good. However, if you've been listening to the podcast for the last month, you will remember that I said it is wrong for you to think that you have a unique product or a unique service. Because sometimes when we think in that mind frame, it gives ourselves an excuse as to why we've not started. And I don't want Paul or anybody else who is selling these kinds of services in Nigeria to think that these kinds of services are new. So therefore, it's kind of understandable why they have not started selling. So I need to disabuse Paul's mind. And it might have been rude, but I said on the show, and I'm saying it here, there is no such thing as a unique product or a unique service. Because no matter what it is that you sell, somebody else has already sold that thing and sold it well. You think you're the first? You are never the first. In fact, I was listening to a podcast recently with my kids on the way to school about the Wright brothers and how the Wright brothers invented flying. So yes, they are the ones who successfully built. Okay, how long? I think their plane lasted how many minutes? And I can't remember, Sha. But there were other people in different parts of the world who were also trying to solve that problem at the same time. Those of you who are into what's it called? You new age people. You talk about collective intelligence, collective consciousness, and stuff like that. But Sha, you think you're the first? Yeah, not really. Somebody else has been working on it. Somebody else has already sold this thing. And so I had to tell my people on the radio show, and I'm telling you now, There's no unique product, no unique service. You are not the first. Somebody else has sold this thing and they've sold it well. So Facebook was not the first social, what's it called? Was not the first social media. Excuse me. Was not the first what do you call them again? Social network. Yeah, it was not the first social network because before Facebook, I know for sure that there was something called MySpace. My younger brother was on MySpace, and before MySpace, there was something else. So Facebook was not the first. Google was not the first search engine. I've heard some people say they were number six. I've heard some people say it's number nine. I've heard some people say number whatever. But I know for a fact that Google was not the first because before Google, um, even in Niger back in those days, I already knew about Ask Jeeves and I can't remember which other one that we used to use. And of course, there was also Yahoo. Yahoo is a search engine or is a search. Well, are they still a search engine? Okay, I'm not sure. So back in the day when internet, just the enter Niger fresh, that's what we used to do. You would use your Yahoo search bar or you will go to Alta Vista. You will go to altavista.com or you will go to askjeeves.com. So back in the day, that's how we used to find our way around the internet. Before this magic thing, Google now popped up saying, which one be Google again? And now Google has taken over the globe. But what I'm trying to say is there is no unique product or service. So don't deceive yourself that my thing is unique. So therefore, this confusion that I'm facing and I'm not making progress, I'm justified. You are not justified. You are never justified. Somebody else has sold this thing. So the challenge now is to figure out how we're going to sell this thing. The people way don't they move market already? How are they moving this market? That's your job. Go and research. Go and find out. And there's nothing that stops you from copying when it comes to sales and marketing. Go and find out. Copy. It's all about execution. So Google was late in the game, number nine or number six or number 12, depending on who you ask. But at the end of the day, Nadam execute pass. That's the reason why Google dominates the globe. When I was in secondary school, there's something boys used to say. They used to say, it's not about who brought the babe to the club. Yeah, you understand what I'm saying? Eh? You can say you're the one that brought her, but that doesn't mean that at the end of the day she will follow you and go. So execution is key. And I wanted Paul to know that. So there's no unique product, there's no unique service. Then another reason why I say there's no unique product or unique service is this. Because the process for selling anything, whether it's Indomie, what are the examples I've given so far? Okay, Indomie, sales analytics, computer accessories, keyboards, monitor, what else? Car, construction equipment. Look, doesn't matter what it is that you're selling, whatever it is that you're selling, all right, the process is universal. You hear me? The principles, sorry, not the process, the principles are universal. The application of those principles are contextual. So you will apply it depending on your context, depending on who you are, depending on the culture, the time, the context, the kind of product, the kind of industry. But these principles are universal and they never change. So don't feel like you find yourself in a situation where you have a unique product, a unique service, and you feel as if, man, I'm in a bind. Now, what are these universal principles? Now, remember, we're going to discuss these things at a very, very high level. But when it comes to your product or your service, we start breaking it down into particulars. But these are the basic steps. Number one, you ask yourself, who is your ideal customer? Who is the person who needs your product or your service? That is the very first question. The next question is, where are these people? Where can you find them online? Where can you find them offline? After you answer that question, the next stage is go and situate yourself where those people are. Then after that, the next step is engage in a conversation with these people. Those are the universal principles. Of course, with each of these heading, there's subheading, subheading, subheading. So if you sell Indomie, you ask yourself, who is my ideal customer for Indomie? Okay, young people with families who have children in primary school or secondary school or whatever. Okay, where are those people in the real world? Where are they? Online. Then go to where those people are online or go to where they are in the real world. Find a way to engage with those people. It's the same if you sell computer accessories. So for Paul, the challenge now is who is the ideal customer for sales analytics? Who are the people who need customer analysis? Who are the people who are in dire need of financial analysis? That is the first question Paul has to ask himself. Who are the people that use these things? And that is the reason why I wanted to describe what these things were in the beginning. Because as I was describing, I am sure that in your mind, you already started seeing a picture of who it is that could use these things. Who are these people? Next, where are they? Then go to where they are. Then engage them in a conversation. Now, this was my own guess. And correct me if I'm wrong. But my take, somebody who needs sales analytics, customer analytics, and financial analysis, first of all, are business owners, but not people who are SMEs. Because, like for me, I'm a one man gang, I'm a one man show. So, yeah, I should be doing sales analytics, but not at that level of getting a software and tracking other people's performance. Because right now, I'm the only person who sells for myself. Sorry about that. So, it's definitely not SMEs. You're looking at businesses of a certain cadre, of a certain size. And because of that, the kind of people that I think Paul should be running after should be CFOs, that's chief financial officers, CEOs, chief executive officers. He should also be running after VP, vice president of sales, sales lead, what else? Yes, sales lead, sales head. What else? Maybe people in customer experience, the CXO, the customer experience officer, or whatever. I mean, you understand. You're beginning to get a sense of who it is that might use this product or service. Now, the next thing is now that we know who these people are, the next thing is where are they? Where can we find them? Now, the first way I broke it down was to use online because not everybody likes my preferred method. My preferred method actually is physical. Let's go and see them. Like if we know where they are, let's say they work in banks and financial institutions, but I really think we should try and see how quickly we can enter into the bank branch. That is my own take. But anyway, since online supposedly is easier, supposedly, I don't agree. We started looking at some examples with online. So, one way to find these people, I could be wrong, but my advice to Paul was you can find these people on LinkedIn. Because LinkedIn is the social media network, at least in Nigeria, where everybody is in official capacity. We are all in official capacity and we are all career or money minded on LinkedIn. So, the example I gave was if you catch Jim Ovia on Instagram, Jim Ovia is trying to relax when he's on Instagram. He's trying to watch Brain Jotter. He's trying to watch videos, that will just make him chill, just make him laugh and make him forget the stress of running such a big conglomerate in Nigeria. So if you catch Jim Ovia on Instagram and you're trying to have business conversations with him, it's not the right place. If you catch him on Instagram or on TikTok, it's not the right place. But however, on LinkedIn, everybody is in official capacity. So Jim Ovia is there on LinkedIn as the MD, CEO, blah 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 of Zenith group of companies, and all that. So LinkedIn is the place where you want to catch all these people. Chief Financial Officer, Chief Executive Officer, Head VP Sales, Head Customer Experience, blah blah blah. All of them. That is the place. So first off, if you're in Paul's situation, you have to be on LinkedIn. Now, one of the benefits of being on LinkedIn, and one of the reasons why I strongly recommend LinkedIn for people who are in Paul's situation is because LinkedIn allows you to search in a very targeted way that you can't do on social networks, on other social networks. If you're on Instagram now, and I say run through Instagram and try and find MDs, that's managing directors of banks in Abuja and Lagos who have over 50 employees. You can't find those people on uh, on Instagram. You can't find them in the general search. But if you go to LinkedIn, oh yes, with the general search you can, because it allows you to filter results. So in fact, if you have the paid options, because there's LinkedIn Navigator, there's LinkedIn Premium, and there's LinkedIn Sales something. So there are paid levels to LinkedIn. It allows you to filter down. So if you know how to use LinkedIn well, I can tell you, go and find me the names of MDs, managing directors of bank branches in Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, and Kano, where they have between 50 and 100 employees. Excuse me. So you can do that and generate a list. Now, whether you use that list and start going to the offices one by one to start knocking on their door, or whether you use that list to try and, I don't know, start forming activity online, is up to you. But at least on LinkedIn, you can generate that list. If you have something that you think people in the podcasting community can use, you can also go to LinkedIn and run a search and find a list of podcasters based in Abuja, Enugu, and Plateau who have been podcasting for, okay, I don't know if you can search according to year, but you can search title, you can search geography, you can search employee, you can search industry. So if I say go and find me podcasters now based in Abuja and Lagos, you can do that on LinkedIn. You can't do that on TikTok. You can't search with that level of granularity on what's the other one now? Instagram. You can't. So that's why I say that when it comes to money, the money you define, like you're chasing people in a business to business context, you need to have a profile on LinkedIn. Even if you don't know how to use it, go and open the profile first. Then we can now start doing research about how to use LinkedIn. But go and open your profile. Now I know lots of Nigerians don't like LinkedIn because they say LinkedIn is boring. But unfortunately, is it not money we're looking for? Go and stay there first. Go and open the profile. And let's figure out how to make this money. Then when you're done, just like Jimovia, you can now go back to Instagram to be watching all those nice trending video, Instagram reel, TikTok reel, YouTube shorts. But at least make sure you have a presence on LinkedIn. Then I also mentioned that someone who is in Paul's position, you should be involved in content marketing. Because remember, now that we know who they are, and now that we've gone to where they are, we need to find a way to engage them in conversation. One way is to put out lures, to put out attractive things, so that they will now be engaging with us. And that's where content marketing comes into the mix. Now, when we say content, for those of you who are new to the podcast, we just mean anything that you put on the internet. If you put a picture, it's content. If you put a video, it's content. If you put an infographic, it's content. If you put a chart, it is content. If you put a, what else? Have I said everything? And you get the point. Whatever it is you put on the internet is content. Even if you just put text. Even if you just type, good morning fam, how is everybody? Question mark. Even that too is content. Now, content marketing, Now, content marketing just means you're putting out content that is meant to educate a certain customer base. And as people get educated, as they see you, as they interact with you, you start building a reputation as the expert in that field. So that when people are ready, they think of you and only you. So if you are in that space, sales analytics, customer analysis, financial analysis, and you've been putting out good content, the goal is at the end of a year, 2 years, 3 years, whenever somebody thinks, oh, these are my salespeople, are they performing well? How do I know? You want them to think, Polo is my guy. And then they give you a call because they've been seeing you steady on social media talking about these sorts of things. Do you have a sales team? How do you know if your sales team is performing? How do you measure your salespeople? How do you know who is on track? How do you motivate your salespeople? How do you improve sales performance? The people have been seeing you, and after a while, they just know that Polo. Anytime it is sales, anytime it's customer, you know, Sha Polo, they will call you first. If you can help them, good. If you can't help them, well, at least they thought of you first. You're beginning to build a reputation. Now that is content marketing. Now, from doing content marketing, um, some people put out lead magnets. A lead magnet is just a piece of content that you put out. But before people consume that thing, they got to give you some information. They have to let you give them phone number, give them email address, give them whatever data it is that you want to capture. So that's a lead magnet, in exchange. So excuse me, I'm recovering from a cold. Now the idea with lead magnets is this: if you put out a piece of content, let's say you put out a video, here are the top 50 reasons why your sales teams are not performing in 2025, and then you talk small in the video, maybe like 5 7 minutes, and then at the end of the video you say, are you a bank CEO? Are you an MD? You're having a problem. You don't know how to improve the performance of your sales teams. In the comment section of this my video, in this post, you will see a link there. Click on that link. When you click on that link, you will drop your email address. I will now send you a PDF brochure, or as we say in my own part of the world, a brochure. We'll now send you a PDF brochure so that you can know how to analyze your sales team, how to train your sales team, how to motivate your sales team, blah, blah, blah. That is a lead magnet. Now, the idea is that when you collect those email addresses or the phone numbers or the office address or whatever information you thought to capture, you will now engage in a productive conversation with these people. If you got their phone number, you will call them and start having high value conversations. And I gave an example of things that Paulo should be talking about when he calls his people. You should be talking to them about ROI and profitability. How much have they invested in sales? How much have they invested in customer service, in financial reporting? How much have they invested and what value are they getting out of it? You should also ask them about compliance. Are they having any issues when it comes to dealing with inland revenue service? Have they been rendering their financial reports on time? Is it a problem creating their end of year annual, what's it called, profit and loss statement and all whatnot? Polo should be asking them all these questions. How much are they been? What's the cost of capital? The money that they borrowed, how much are they spending servicing those debts? Working capital, how much money are they using every single month to be paying staff salaries or, to be maintaining equipment, stuff like that, like high level conversations. Because from that high level convo, you will now be able to figure out, do these people actually have a problem that my software can solve? And it's from there you will now be able to make a compelling proposal to say, look, MD, I've heard what you said, and based on this and this and this and this and that, in fact, this is the kind of thing that my software can do very, very well. So, bros, if you don't mind, I'm going to be in Abuja around that kind, December 13th. Can I just come by the office? If you're able to hook up a meeting with your CFO, excuse me, we can run a demo. We can run a demo to show how we can use this software to be able to help you achieve XYZ goals. So that's how it works. But anyway, you see how we can form some activity online that can lead to some engagement offline in the real world. So from there, let's just flow into offline. Whenever we say online, we mean computer. Online, we mean email. Online, we mean Instagram. We mean WhatsApp. We mean what else? Internet, computer. That's online. Then offline is real world, face to face. For me, I classify phone call as real world. That's just me, Sha. But some people, will disagree. But there's no point to argue over academics here. The name is not important. Whether you're doing the thing, that's the important thing. So, offline now, we think that the people who need Paul's products or service are CFOs, chief financial officers. vice president of sales, head of sales department, team lead sales, head of customer service, head of customer experience, chief executive officer, all these people. Good. Where do we find these people? One thing I recommended physically where we can find them is professional associations. So I mentioned to Paulo that he should be hanging out around some kind of professional circles. One that I came up with, I could be wrong, oh. And if I'm wrong, you guys, hit me up, send me a message and let me know. Because remember, sales is also part trial and error. Come up with a good idea and try it. See how the thing works. If it works well, good, do it again. If it didn't work, you throw it in the dustbin and you know that you never try that idea again. But for professional working, I racked my brain. I came up with a few. One is ICANN. ICANN is Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. Remember, I said Chief Financial Officer. Chief Financial Officer. People who are doing financial analysis. Does it not make sense that we should try ICANN? Because ICANN, they always do their dinner, they host associations, they host programs, they do things like that. Let's try ICANN now. Let's see. It might work, it might not work, but you never know. Sitting in your house or in your office, you won't know. Just try. Let's attend one or two ICANN chapter events, webinar, I don't know. You see that they're doing ICANN dinner. You know somebody who is an accountant, or boy, they go, how many IV do you have? Let me be your plus one. You never know. Just go. Then there's also ACCA. I think that's the Association of Chartered something something accountants. I know there's this argument in Nigeria where they say ICANN is the main, ICANN is number one, and they say ACCA is number two. I didn't say that too. Excuse me. If you're an ACCA holder, I'm not insulting you. I'm just saying the gist that I heard. Me, what I studied was law, so I know nothing about these associations. All I know is I always hear some kind of beef between the two associations. But anyway, our own is we're looking for money. We're not concerned about the beef. So ICANN, we will go. ACCA, we will go. Anywhere where you hear financial forum, all these events that they organize in Hilton Hotel, Association of so and so, financial forum, open to the public, something, shall go. That's where you see those people. CEO, Chief Executive Officer, CFO, Chief Financial Officer. That's where you see them. Go. Then there are also other professional associations like, sorry, let me check my list. Okay, NIM, Institute of Management. Yes, Nigeria Institute of Management. Go there. That's where you see CEO, CFO. Go there. Then there's also CNIM, Chartered, CNIM, Chartered Nigerian Institute of Management. Go there, you will see those people. Then I also mentioned Abuja Chamber of Commerce. I know that on the radio show, the first time I mentioned Abuja Chamber of Commerce, somebody tackled me that I was being too high level. Well, in this case, Chamber of Commerce applies. Yes, there's some expense involved, but you never know. You never know. We try. The reason why we're hanging out in all these places is because we're hoping to meet CEO. We're hoping to meet CFO. We're hoping to meet head of sales. We're hoping to meet customer service something something, on and on and on. But before I got off the air, I wanted to warn about two things. Because lots of us in Nigeria were making two mistakes, two cardinal sins. Number one, we're supposed to do multi-touch. Multi-touch just means, for those of you who remember Aliyah, if at first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again. So is Aliyah. Is what Aliyah said. If you try one time, the thing didn't work, dust yourself off and try again. Too many of us in Nigeria, we only do something once. You try one time, the thing didn't work, and then you go and relax. So you like Atinuke, you try toasting her, she shun you, you now go and relax. Like, why? Tinuke might be your wife destined for you. She might be the mother of your children. So she shun you the first time. Dust yourself off and try again. It's the same thing in business. You try to see Jim Ovia one way, the thing didn't work, you now just give up. If you try online, the thing didn't work, try physical. Try again. Multi-touch. This is sales. Several touches. I try, and try. Maybe after I try like 7, 10 times, the thing is not working. I'll say, you know what? Maybe it's not meant to be. Let me resign. Maybe it's not my destiny. But don't say you try only once. Too many people try something once and then they give up. Eh? We try several times. So it's a sin. Don't say you did single touch. Anything sales and marketing, we are doing multi-touch several times. One time, one time, one time, one time, again, again, again. That's the name of the game. Then another cardinal sin, multimodal. Multimodal just means you're trying different modes of doing something. So in Nigeria, for some reason, some people decide that they will only do real life. Oh, me, I'm an office meeting kind of guy. And then they'll never try online. Try both. Be doing the physical office meeting, be also be doing the online. Although the thing that actually happens is that most people will be sleeping online Monday to Friday and they wonder why their business is not growing. Yes, do your online activities, Instagram, LinkedIn, everything. But then also be going for meeting, physical meeting. Go and be seeing people. Multimodal, different modes. Try online, try offline. Some of you will only be sending email, 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 email. Like, why? Multimodal, different modes. Send email today, they didn't answer. Send text message, they didn't answer. Try phone call, they didn't answer. Go to the office. Multimodal, different modes. So I wanted them to understand on the radio station that they should not fall into these cardinal sins. And I'm saying it over here. Let us stop falling into these cardinal sins, please. Multi touches. If at first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again. For those of us who are married, how do you think we ended up being married? I remember when I was chasing my wife in Aberdeen. We met in Aberdeen, Scotland. Everything was well, everything was fine. Then one day we entered into one quarrel. And then in public, my wife looked at me, she opened her mouth and she shouted at me, if you don't like it, you can go. She began the waka. That's how people were laughing at me in public. I said, Chai, see my life. I say, me, Tavishima in public. Say as woman is washing me down. I say, hey, see my life. People are laughing at me. She shouted, if you don't like it, you can go. And then she walked away. Ha! That evening, I thought about my life. I say, me, woman, shouted on me. I say, you know what? It's my fault. After all, I have options. Then I started thinking about it. Like, well, man, she's a correct baby. This thing is actually pure. And then after a while, I started thinking about it. When she shouted, if you don't like it, you can go. Did she really mean, let us scatter this thing? Abi, she just said it in anger. I said, okay, you know what? This chapter is not finished. Remember, if at first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again. So that's how I tried calling her. I picked up my phone. Boop, boop. She no answer. No problem. I gave it a few minutes. I tried again. Boop, boop. She didn't answer. No problem. I gave it a few minutes. I tried again. Boop, boop. Our older sister, Theresa, answered. Theresa was like, oh, Tavi, oh, how are you? So, and then I now heard my wife shouting in the background. Said, tell him I'm sleeping. I said, oh, she's actually asleep. I said, hey, see my life. See what they are doing to me. See what they are doing to the Son of Man. Tell him that he's sleeping. I'm sleeping. We just chatted casual, I said, okay, no problem. After work, I'll come by the house. And then I now went to the house after work. Knocked on the door, they let me inside. I saw my wife. Then my girlfriend, now she's my wife. So I was watching TV. She see the strong face, very angry. Then I sat down. Then her older sister, Teresa, after a small gist, Teresa stylishly just disappeared. Then, and I asked my wife, my girlfriend then, and I asked her up front, okay, you know what? It's been a rough 2, 3 days. Yeah, that quarrel was a bit rough. But when you said this thing, like if you don't like it, you can go. What did you mean? Did you mean we should scatter this thing now? Because if it's like that, no problem. I'll respect your wishes. I'll stand up, we'll go. We don't scatter. You don't finish. And then my wife, her face, my girlfriend then, Her face softened small. She said, I know, but I didn't mean let's scatter the whole thing. Then we started talking. And then glory be to God, we're married now. We have a few children. That's because if at first I didn't succeed, I dust myself off and I try again. Eh? So when I'm in business or whether in personal relationships, if at first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again. You never know. So don't fall into this cardinal sin, whether in your personal life or in business. Multi-touch and then also multimodal. You see with my wife, you see how I tried it. Phone call, popo, she don't answer. No problem. Text message, she didn't respond. And I went to the house. Multimodal. After all those different modes, if what I heard was, young man, I am tired, it's time to go, I would have now dusted myself off and I would have gone. Washa, multi-touch, multimodal. So, where was I? How did I end up in my private life now? Anyway, so if you're in Paul's situation, don't say you have a unique product, you have a unique service. Somebody else has sold this thing before. Let's try and figure out how to sell it. Then the universal principles are who is the person who needs this thing the most? Who is the ideal customer? Where is this person? I will go to where they are and I will engage them in the conversation. That is a high level way of looking at it. So the particular application will depend on your industry, your product, your service, your niche, your culture, your age, your whatever. But with this general framework in mind, know that there is always a way. It might be hard, but there is always a way. So that's it. And that's all for today. If you'd love to get in touch with me, you can call, send me a text message or a WhatsApp message on 080-6466-2140. So if you have questions, you have comments, you have queries, you want to collaborate, or you want me to clarify something I said today, perhaps you're facing similar problems, reach out to me. I'd love to have a chat with you. So that's it for today, and that's all. I will catch you all some other time.